You know, in America, we value our privacy so much that we enshrined it in our Constitution, and we are protected against unreasonable government intrusions into our homes, our persons, our papers, and effects. So yes, this is something that has got Americans talking, but he's absolutely committed a crime. This may surprise you, but in chronological order, the first takeaway is that Mr. Garner would still be alive today if he had simply put his hands behind his back as he was initially requested to. That's number one. Well, I think that the answer to that question ultimately is going to have to be decided by history. The Obama administration has made it perfectly clear that they intend to put no one else in Gitmo. In fact, the trend has been that everybody is trying to be cycled out of Gitmo. There's a lot of things that need to happen right after arraignment. The defense, for example, has only 10 days to file whatever pretrial motions they need to file. Well, what we know from the preliminary hearing is that the investigation is certainly considering all options, including whether or not and to what extent she may or may not have been involved. You mentioned the statements that were made at the funeral and some evidence that was testified to at the preliminary hearing. This has to be kept in context. Absolutely. This is the old throw the co-defendant right up under the bus routine. Up until now, as you said, he has been her alibi. Now what he's doing is he's providing a little bit of a crack in that alibi so that it's conceivable that maybe she's guilty while he can still maintain, hey, I'm innocent. I never left the house. She left for a little while. Look at her, not me. Absolutely, you should be worried. These drones are really becoming a menace, not only to commercial aviation, but to general aviation as well. Anybody who gets on an airplane of any type really does face the risk of encountering one of these drones. Georgia emphasizes restraint that winds up with the person being face up as opposed to face down in order to prevent this positional asphyxiation. That's absolutely correct. Actually, under Georgia law, malice murder is as bad as it gets. If the facts can be proven, if it's horrible enough, if it's torturous enough, things of that nature, it might even qualify it for the death penalty. Well, what they've said was right now they're proceeding on the theory that it was at a minimum criminally negligent for him to have left his child in that car under those circumstances. Nevertheless, the detective said at the preliminary hearing that it's looking, at least to him, like this might be intentional. Well, if the plane made it down undetected, one could assume that it could get back off the ground if it's airworthy undetected. Jets, however, do not like to fly really low. Jet engines like to fly high. They're not very fuel efficient at low altitude. But that being said, if it flies low enough and it has no transponders on or anything like that, it could be easily confused with a flock of birds or perhaps even a boat if it's low enough.